I'm Nate.
I'm Jaden.
Welcome to the J&N Podcast.
Episode 9.
So, if y'all are new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe.
Rumor has it that half y'all aren't subscribed that are watching this. So, if you're watching this, it's free to subscribe.
It is indeed.
And you can always unsubscribe later for more crazy content. Crazy podcast content.
So, Jaden, what are we talking about today?
America. Does America have snakes in office as candidates or people? Now, I'm not talking about lizard people. That's for a different context.
Are American elections dead?
Yeah.
Are we doomed?
Are we
That
doomed?
is the question.
Is America gonna fall? You know what? I mean, if you look at history, right?
Yeah.
Look at history.
Yeah.
Generally, like, give or take, like, most civilizations don't last for more than 1,000 years.
I think most it's actually like 500.
Yeah.
Like the Roman Empire was the longest lasting empire, and they lasted. I think it was 500. I think it was 500.
No, I think it was like 2,000. Yeah, I think they lasted for about.
I think it was 500 years.
500 years. Well,
I don't know. I mean, it could be either. I just remember looking it up, and I thought it said 500.
500 years. I have something I do got to do some research on because I'm pretty sure they've lasted like the Egyptian Empire lasts the longest. There's the longest.
They're still here.
Well, they're like country, and they're like
Yeah.
they're like them as a civilization. They've been the longest, the oldest civilization to make a mark on the world and still exist.
Israel's. I mean, they didn't exist there for a really long time, but like.
Yeah.
But no, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. America is like what 250 years old.
Roughly, yeah. Somewhere around there.
And I don't know. This is the first case of like true democracy. It's not true democracy, but it's the closest thing to like a democratic republic that has been as successful as we are. Because, I mean, the Romans and the Egyptians, or the Romans had a pretty good outline for like what it meant to be like democratic and everything. Yeah. They had a senate. But they weren't as democratic as America is.
I mean, they did have like a pretty free society.
We tried to create something, but people ruin everything. It is people's fault, 100%.
Yeah.
And so now, especially as countries get older, more ethics come into everything. They always. You look at the end of any civilization, and you'll see it's the most like diplomatically like turmoil.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that America is going to go anywhere because it may not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as it stands right now, if we fall, it will be our fault. We're surrounded. It's impossible to invade America successful. We have Canada on one side.
Mexico.
We have Mexico on the other side. We are like surrounded by oceans, and we control the land in the middle. So if you're going to invade America, you're not going to do it through Canada. You would do it through Mexico, but we have a significant military force over there.
Yeah.
It's just not easy. It wouldn't be practical to invade America by any means. So you'd either need to drop a nuclear bomb on us, which would be, maybe it wouldn't be smart, or more effectively, and how I would do it, I think I've said this on this podcast before, is by causing America to destroy itself, which
is kind of already happening.
Hard to do. It's kind of
already happening.
Hard to do.
And a lot. Some of the viewers might disagree with me on this, and might give me some shit for this, but people younger than me are stupid. They don't know how to spell. They can barely read. They can barely math. But all that to say, like, the candidates that we have now, like, we need to have a better and bigger selection of candidates. Why do we only have 2 candidates?
Yeah.
Kamala and Trump, and neither of them are good
No,
candidates.
no. I think everybody.
one is
can
old and
agree.
one's stupid.
We can. I think we can. Everyone. I don't think people can disagree that both of our candidates kind of suck right now.
Yeah.
We don't have good candidates.
No, we don't.
There's a couple of ways I'm thinking
Yeah.
we could come across this and maybe do something
Yeah.
a little bit better.
Yeah.
One of them would be to change our party system. Because, okay, right, it's dangerous to change the system because especially I believe that the more you change something that's working, the more likely it is to not work.
I like what you have to say there because, but it's only dangerous to change the system, or it's, let me put it this way, changing the system is only dangerous to the establishment, to the people already in power. the
Not
elites.
necessarily true. Okay, maybe a bad example, but I look at France during the French Revolution.
Yep.
It was like the example that I turn to the most because you have some very, very intelligent people kind of calling the shots there.
Exactly.
And they really tried to commit a huge change on society. And maybe if they had been, completely successful, they would have actually accomplished maybe something much bigger. But I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. When you have really intelligent people coming together and trying to, revolution has been talked about with people our age.
Yep.
Since the beginning of time. People that were our age were storming castles and trying to overthrow kings. People like us, people like y'all,
Exactly.
our age, have been talking about revolution forever. Most of the time, it just doesn't work. You just put another person who's equally not good in power.
Exactly.
But I do think that our system. I do think that our system as is going to cause more strife than it is going to cause anything else.
I you know what, I agree with that because the system that we have now, I feel like in the future, maybe not the near future, but I feel like eventually it's destined to fail. Something's gonna give, something's gonna burst, because we're kind of in a new age now.
Now, well, I will say, the more complicated that a system is, the more likely it is to fail.
Yep.
I believe that. I believe that if you make a complicated system to rule over people, people will exploit that. It's impossible for people not to. You have an opportunity for corruption, people are going to take it. As long as people exist in this world, there's going to be evil and dumbheads.
I think that's why capitalist countries do so well, like free market countries do so well. It's because they're not that complicated. They're pretty straightforward and simple.
But there will always be people trying to exploit anything you do, right?
Exactly.
And whether that's people exploiting people that weren't in charge, exploiting the Soviet Union that lived in the Soviet Union when it was a thing, and there are people that aren't in charge. They might be, but there are a lot of people that are exploiting the system that we have now. So we have one thing that's going for the United States is it's not overly complicated, our system.
No.
We have three parties. We have three houses and two parties. And
technically there's three because there's libertarians.
Well, there's a lot more than three. There's a lot of parties, but the only parties that matter are Republican and liberal.
Exactly.
And
because I remember Father Foster talking about it one time. How a libertarian would, or an independent will never be in the White House because they simply won't get the votes.
Yeah. The closest time we ever had to a true more socialist in the White House, and they nearly won, was during the pre-World War One. Pre-World War One. I can't remember the name of the dude, but he nearly won. And he was or it might have been, it was pre-World War One. It was pre-World War One when that happened.
Why do I feel like I know the president you're talking about?
We had the same history teachers. We probably went over it.
Why do I feel like that was Jimmy Carter?
He wasn't a president though. He
No. Like Jimmy Carter won, but the guy you're talking about didn't. I think
Jimmy Carter won over that election.
Maybe because I feel like I heard something about Jimmy Carter having a story similar to that, but I could be totally wrong. I don't know, guys. I haven't done the research on it. So
real. Now, okay, there's this thing, and there's this other method of elections that I've learned about, and it's a rank system.
Yep.
So you give your primary vote and your secondary vote and your third. So you have multiple votes, and they have different strengths. And that way, you can still vote. That way, you can vote for everybody you want to, and the people still choose the people choose. They have multiple options, like multiple votes, and so it's less likely for like two people they hate. Because it's like I don't want this person to get in office. I don't want this other person getting in office either. But I'd much rather not have this other person in office. So they have to vote for that other person. Or the person they really don't want in office gets in office. And this pretty much allows you to break out of that. And have like the majority actually vote who they want to vote for. The problem is that people are more complicated. Social societies are so complicated that it's hard to create a system that works.
Yeah. That
works without it being fucked with in a way that is really unforeseen. And for sure, the system we have now has been done, has had that happen.
Yeah.
But not as much as some other systems.
Yeah.
So changing a system, but I don't know. I just know that the system right now doesn't really fully, represent everybody.
Yeah.
But also with how diverse America is, especially, imagine this scenario. Imagine that Mexico became a part of America.
Yeah.
The more people, the more territory that America has, the more ideas that are going to be in there, and the more.
But also, the harder it becomes to control.
It becomes harder both to control the territories, but it also becomes harder to represent all the territories, right? Because you're not going to have one person. We don't already have one person in office that represents the whole people. We have a person in the office that represents. The amount of people that voted for
the majority.
And that's not
voted
even
for him.
The majority doesn't even vote, or
yeah.
There's a lot of people.
That's
in America
so true.
That don't even vote.
The good majority of Americans don't vote. That's kind of scary, actually. But let's talk about age limits.
Yes. So, a couple things there.
Yeah.
And we'll see how society, because I mean, come 20 years from now, or 25, 50 years from now, people might be able to live longer than they do now. I feel like every 100 years, people are like,
with the advancement of technology.
Hopefully technology will advance far enough for me to be able to live longer. And maybe that will happen. Maybe that's something that actually will happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Overall, right now, though, I really don't think we should have people that will go senile with the ability to set off nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't need 70 plus 90-year-olds in office.
We don't need we don't need a third world war or a war period, because we have a person in the White House that is too old to actually run the country. Or well, if you're like the other candidate, you're just stupid. Yeah. And you kind of make no sense when you talk. Now, like I have said before, guys, I don't really support either party. So that's why I'm kind of, shitting on both parties, because, well, they both kind of suck. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're both corrupt.
Very true. That's another reason. It's like when you have old establishments, people always get their fingers in the pie holes they can. And there's always pie holes that are ready to get their fingers get stuck into. Like, please take your fingers and stick them into the pie holes.
Yeah.
People, as long as there's people have been talking about taking money out of politics for a really long time. I don't
think that will work though.
All that I can say is that there's a couple of things here. One, we need to stop having it happen where you have these really old people in office that are rich because of their office.
Exactly.
And not because they're getting paid by their office, right? It'd be one thing if you say that the salary of this individual was $1 million, right? Let's just theoretically say that's the salary of them.
Do you know how much money senators and Congress people now make?
I don't.
$210,000 a year. They got I think it was either this year or last year. They got like a 10% increase in their wages because they used to be only getting $174,000 a year. So,
and you know what? I don't actually have that much of a problem with them making about that much money, because I mean that's as well off for the most part. But they shouldn't be making, and I'm be specific about this, millions from things around their office.
Exactly.
Not in their office. You have these people retiring with like $10 million, $50 million, $200 million, and you're just like, you didn't get that from, the job you've had for the last 50 years. How are you making that
now?
money?
Okay, I will say there are a few.
And where are the laws you're making? Where are the laws you're making actually? What's the intent behind making those laws? You have all this money that you didn't make through. Like, how did you make that? And then, what does that say about your ability to make laws and run the people you're actually trying to run?
Exactly. I think that's about it.
All right.
For today.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we were thinking about talking about? Huh?
Hey, if y'all hated this video, make sure to leave a like down below and comment your favorite part down below. If you want us to talk about anything, there's a social issue happening in your community. We care about this community. We care about your community. We're going to be doing more and more of these podcasts. We want to make more guests come on to our podcast. So we want guests of all different kinds of people, like photographers. I mean, I'm a professional musician, so obviously musicians, people that maybe have more clout than my band does, but influencers, contractors, plumbers,
for
just
sure,
like people in general. So hey, let us know what kind of things you want to see on this podcast in the comments. We do always check all the comments like we get on these videos.
But yeah, like you said, I'd even be like a little more specific. If y'all think that America is doomed or our election or system is doomed, comment something down below, like comment doomed or something. Like, do y'all think America is doomed? Let us know in the comments. But thank y'all for listening to the JNN podcast, and until later, see ya.